Hello, we're back again. All right, so I found just a break. I just wanted to do this in continuation. The letter from Hennepin County Child Protection. I will read it. Hennepin County Human Services and Public Health Department. Here we go. Okay. Dated June 13th, 2018 to Tara McInnes. Dear Tara McInnes, that's me. Hennepin County Human Services and Public Health Department received a report stating that your children may have been abused or threatened injury. As required by law, an investigation was completed to determine whether maltreatment occurred and whether child protective services are needed. Information was gathered to make these determinations according to the process required by Minnesota Statutes Section 626.556, Division 10, paragraphs H, I, and J. Results of investigation. Based on the information gathered, there is not a preponderance of evidence to support a finding of threatened injury. Maltreatment has not been determined, but child protective services are needed, meaning they come visit you at your house. This decision is based on information evidence gathered during the assessment. An agency worker will be in contact with you to discuss services and develop a case plan. It didn't say a hearing date will be set. Because, and then it says child protection records. Because child protection services are needed, Hennepin County Human Services and Public Health Department must keep a written record of this report on file for 10 years. That's all it says. And that's a licensed social worker with Hennepin County Child Protection. Yeah. Information was gathered. Based on the information gathered, there is not a preponderance of evidence to support a finding of injury, of threatened injury. There's no findings. Maltreatment has not been determined, but child protective services are needed. This decision is based on information evidence gathered during the assessment. So that means that everything that Todd claimed or whoever claimed on the initial report to the county, there was no preponderance of evidence. There was not enough evidence to support a finding of threatened injury. So there was no evidence to support the initial claims, the ones that the guardian ad litem is stating is why I should have no contact with my children, and why they're trying to have this hearing. What am I proving? It's already been proven right here in a letter from them. Okay, now, if we have to go further, here is the results. Even with collateral, I still did the MMPI, which is a 500-question mental health evaluation created at the University of Minnesota. So if they're going to say that the findings on that mental health evaluation are not accurate, then they're knocking their own university, the renowned world-class University of Minnesota, where that test was created. So the findings of that are risk to self, absent, risk to others, absent, appearance, appropriate and neat, attention, normal, concentration, normal, memory, good, recent, remote, orientation, yes, eye contact, normal, speech, normal, behavior, appropriate, self-esteem, good, thought process, local, coherent, insight, judgment, good insight and judgment, hallucinations, none, delusions, none. And I'll show you that right there. Okay. MMPI clinical scales. Tara was administered the MMPI-2 And the multi-axle diagnostic inventory revised, blah, blah, blah. Nothing found, no diagnosis. Adjustment disorder with disturbance of conduct. That's like basically just from dealing with all these situations. That's it. There's no mental health findings. Tara is able to attend, concentrate, and display adequate memory. She thinks clearly and rationally and has good insight into her behavior. She believes that her judgment is good. However, her self-confidence and assurance in abilities may be a facade from underlying feelings of inadequacy, insecurity, and dependency, whatever that means. Let's see. She's unlikely to have suicidal ideation. Treatment may be guarded. Yeah, I mean, honestly. But on here it says risk, again, after doing this 500 question test that was developed at the University of Minnesota, risk to self, absent, risk to others, absent, appearance, appropriate and neat, attention, normal, concentration, normal, memory, good, recent, remote, eye contact, normal, speech, normal, behavior, appropriate, self-esteem, good, thought process, logical, coherent, insight, judgment, good, insight, judgment, hallucinations, none, delusions, none. So is the state of Minnesota going to say that the University of Minnesota created a faulty test that's been used all over for about 50 years? Okay, third document. This is what was in the initial orders. Like, even though I did that assessment, there was nothing wrong, even though we had no findings in this, no findings of anything to support the initial claims to be true. Then we have this document that was received in court, which says from the woman at the health center that they wanted me to go to, that starting January 22nd, February, and then again April, I went to this woman. This is how often. And I was prescribed medication for anxiety. I mean, what mom wouldn't have anxiety in this situation when your children are taken from your home and that you are not allowed to have contact with them to see them or be a part of their lives or go to their school when you've been in their school and lives every day? Like, as a PTO president and the room mom every year since they were in kindergarten or preschool, very involved mother, loving mother. Anyway, and then it said I went to counseling and like I've done everything the department has asked. Why are we going to trial? What are they trying to prove with this trial? What are they going to prove? I've already done everything. There's no findings of abuse. I haven't abused my children. Their own department did an investigation and they found nothing to support the initial claims of any sort of maltreatment. But they said child protection services is needed. So that means they come into your home and do visits. I have more documentation. I'll provide that later. It's just dealing with this stuff year after year. It's been 9 years now, and dealing with the same human being over and over again, and constantly having my sanity questioned, my everything questioned about me. It's always questioned about me. Why am I being questioned? Why doesn't anyone question him? He's the one with the record. I mean, honestly, I don't have a record of hurting people. I don't have a record of getting upset and threatening people's lives because they're not listening or because I'm losing control over them. I don't have that. I don't have a court record of that. I even have medical experts saying that I'm not a threat to my children or to anyone else. I mean, this is just, it's pure madness, and it's enough to really make a person very, very sad and angry. And like, how do you think every day when all you're thinking about is being afraid? What has happened? What's going to happen in this court hearing? Why is it moving so far? They're already not following the law. They're not following any precedences. So what do I expect in this court hearing? Because they're all over the place. They're unpredictable. It's scary. It's very scary to me. We're dealing with a man who literally brought me to my knees to the point where I thought that I was going to die that day. And then the court is siding with him. They ripped on me after court with my convicted, like basically attempted murder. I mean, I don't know what it is when you stop an inch from someone's body with an 11-inch blade. What else is that? When I literally think that that's my last day, this is it. Those were the thoughts in my head. Oh my God, I'm dying today. This is it. Like literally as this knife's coming down and I'm screaming. And then we get to talk about, where would the kids go if you died? I'd be in prison. Would they go to my sister's house? I mean, and he was checked out of his brain. This is the stuff I've been through. It hasn't been logical. There's no sense behind it. I'm constantly judged. My mental health is constantly judged. I am just angry. I have dealt with things that no one should ever have to deal with. And I've been successful at it. I've had 2 girls that have done really well in school. I've taken nothing but astounding care of them. All of that I bought a house, got my master's degree. I don't play the victim, but I stand up for myself. And it shouldn't be smacked back in my face when I stand up for myself and present clear, logical evidence. But what I'm getting back, even from an establishment as the child protection, is things that are not factual. They're not based on their reports. It seems like they can do whatever, and there's no law. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Now I have to prepare for a trial. I have to pay or figure out how to pay for a lawyer because I already owe my old lawyer who was initially on this. I mean, I've been through this year after year after year and having to pay for lawyers and having to miss work and everything. Yeah, all of this has added up. It adds up, obviously. So imagine the county being like, this isn't connected. How do you say that? That would be like letting someone who is a victim of a violent crime, letting the convicted out of jail and having access to them, and another crime happening or something bad happening to that person again with that same offender that initially tried and wanted to kill them, and then say, that's not connected at all. What's wrong with you? This crime isn't connected to the last time he tried to kill you. Now he's just trying to take away the most important thing from your life. That's not connected. What is wrong with you? You're playing the victim. Are you being paranoid? This is the stuff I deal with. It absolutely doesn't make sense, but I'm the one that's supposed to be perfect. I'm the one that's never supposed to cry, yell, get angry, show my emotions, mess up, miss a bill, make a mistake. I have to be perfect. But Todd can seemingly do anything and just not be held accountable. But I am judged, like most women are, twice to like 10 times harder for everything we do. We have to work harder for everything. Even in our jobs, we have to work harder to get recognized. Men can just kind of like show up and be like, hey, and then they're like, oh, let's give you a promotion. I mean, this happens all the time. So these are the documents that I have, and I have more. I have many, many, many more. I've got folders and folders upon folders of legal documents, of emails, of text messages, years upon years of letters from Ella Rose writing, does Dad care about me? Why won't he let me be in basketball? I really want to be in basketball. He won't let me. He wouldn't let her. We've dealt with this for years. I'm not playing the victim. I've done everything, and I continue, and I will do everything for my girls. Always. And I will fight for my rights. I will fight for the choices that I take in my life. And I always take ownership for everything. But there are things that I can't take ownership for, and I will not take ownership for them. And one of them is having to deal with this violent, convicted man who has stated, and my mom has seen it, that he has had a vendetta against me because he believes that it is my fault that he was convicted for that crime. Not his actions, my fault. It is not my fault. If people's actions are in the wrong, me standing up for myself and my daughters and for anyone else, that's not my fault. That should not come back to me. I should not have to internalize that. No one should ever. Like if I speak up and someone there's actions at their work, or, it's corrected, that's not my fault. That's not the person's fault who spoke up. If they're wrong, they're wrong. If they're not doing their job right, it's just not right. You can't blame that, and you can't get mad on the person that you're wronging. And this is what's been happening to me year after year after year after year after year. I don't like to get people in trouble. I don't do this stuff to hurt people on purpose. But when I am constantly just like things happen and they're not making sense. And it's like, should this happen to people? No, it shouldn't happen. There's no reason why my kids were taken out of my home. There's no reason why I've been completely alienated from my daughter, from my 14-year-old. There's no reason why I only get to see my 10-year-old 4 hours a week, and now like another extra hour I can watch her in gymnastics, when I've always been the one to pay for gymnastics, pay for volleyball. I've paid for every extracurricular activity up until, well, even right now I'm paying for gymnastics, but for the first time, he had to pay gymnastics this fall and for volleyball. Otherwise, I've asked him to pay, I've asked him to co-parent with me. I have tried everything, but every time I have to deal with him, I end up getting hurt. I end up losing out. And this is just another example of that. And for Child Protection to say that this domestic case is not connected is absolutely careless and dangerous for every woman and every person that's dealt with a crime and someone that has threatened them physically. What if this wasn't my ex-husband? What if it was just a random person? Would I be treated like this? That person would be in jail right now. If Todd wasn't my ex, he'd be in jail. Why do they treat domestics differently? If he was just a random person on the street and held me at knife point and like did whatever, he'd be in jail, most likely, or at least on probation or something. And he wouldn't have contact with me at all. And we wouldn't have to share the most important things in our lives together and be expected to do that. So we should never have had joint legal custody in the first place. The fact that this has happened, that he's allowed to tear my family apart 2 times, is very sad. And it means I haven't been protected by my state and by my country. And that's the truth. And he's a Canadian citizen. He's not an American citizen. I don't know why they're so protective of him. I think that's a very good question. These are all very, very basic things. And I am sick of fighting for just what I want every day because I have to fight. I shouldn't have to battle so hard for basic things that make sense and for making my own decisions in my life when I have to live it every minute of every day. And I want to use my own voice to benefit myself and my children and other people in the way I want to and to make a living. And that just makes sense. I mean, this is the stuff that I'm trying to do. And so thank you for listening. Those are the documents. And there will be more because I will keep it updated. And I mean, honestly, this is like, I can talk to a counselor, but it's just they hear the situation and they're angry too. So it's like, no one can make sense of this. None of it makes sense. I got a second opinion from another lawyer, and my current lawyer is doing a good job. I've never said that. It's just everyone's like, get a private attorney. Da, da, da. I had one before. I still owe him money. It's like all of this over the years has made me miss so much work, have made me miss work, like going to court all the time, fighting with him over things that should just be logical. It'd be like, is this H2O? Be like, no, it's not. Yes, it says it right there, H2O. No, Tara, you're crazy. It's not. Yes, it says H2O right there. No, it doesn't. You're seeing things. You're delusional. I mean, this is the stuff. Those are the mind games I have played with me for years. I mean, it's unfair. No one should be treated like this. No one should be. I haven't done anything to anyone. I've stood up for myself. I've fought hard for women, for other people, for children. I stand up for myself. And maybe that's my biggest flaw. People hate because I stand up for myself. Because if like you wrong me, isn't that my right as a human being to stand up for myself? I believe it is for everyone. If I'm wrong, tell me differently, but I know I'm not. And I'll never stop standing up for myself. So I don't know. And this is what I'm dealing with. But we have a case here with no findings. No evidence that was found by the county to support the initial claims on the initial report as to why they opened the case. But they said they did want to stay involved and have home visits, but it never said there will be a hearing. So now, and then I have documentation where I'm not mentally ill. I've followed all the appointments and doctor visits, which it takes a lot of time and my money and gas money and going to these places and emotional and mental preparation and anger for constantly having to deal with violent injustice that just doesn't make any sense. So we're there. I mean, what are you going to do? You can't create drama and violence in someone's life and then convict them for it and be like, oh, she seems unstable. Now we're going to give your ex-husband your children, or we're going to side with him. You've never really looked at my side. You haven't seen me at my best, because I'm not at my best right now, because I don't have my life together, because you took my children. You robbed my foundation. You robbed me of my family. How could anyone not get that? How can anyone not have that empathy? I mean, you can't judge me right now, because after having the police constantly come to my house and me trying to keep things together and trying to stay away from Todd and trying to do everything and advocate for myself, I'm not going to be blamed. I'm not going to go through this victim blaming again by the same community that has done that to me for 10 years. It's not going to happen. You're not going to get away with it this time. We're not doing that again. I have been through way too much, and so have my daughters, because I haven't been believed, or because I'm overreacting, because I'm this, I'm that, I'm being judged constantly. Why doesn't someone judge him for once? Why don't you rip his life apart, take away his youngest daughter, and see how he does it for no reason, and just be like, we're just doing this just because, and we're going to give him to someone who tried to hurt you very badly and has been horrible to you for almost at least over a decade. I mean, honestly, I can't even, there's not enough words to describe, because none of it is just adding up. And I'm really sick of being treated this way. I've had it. Who wouldn't be? I want good things. I want to be positive. I want to be happy. I want to be with my friends and my family, which I am as much as I can. But a lot of times I'm busy talking to lawyers, talking to advocates, talking to, getting legal advice on different things, because now we have different violations. And of course I'm going to stand up for myself. I can't just do this to people. And if it happens somewhere, an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. I am a human being. This is an injustice. This is an injustice for the whole world. And if it's let go and it's not treated fairly, then it's just going to become the norm, and it will happen to other people. And that's why it's very important that people stand up and are vocal about these things. So that is it for now. Thank you again, and have a good night. Bye. Ending stream. Goodbye.